What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Power Sports Steve, and again today we are here at Extreme Power Sports in Opelika, Alabama. It is 1,000,000 degrees outside, folks, so we are going to do this inside one of our showrooms today. We're in the Yamaha and BRP, the Sea-Doo Can-Am showroom, because we're going to talk about Defenders today. If you're in the market for a mid-size, we'll call it UTV, you need to stick around and watch this video. We're going to show you a couple things on the HD7, talk about the differences a little bit between the HD9 and the HD10 as well, and maybe talk about how this compares maybe say to a Polaris Ranger 570 full size, for example, or the Pioneer 700, something like that. Why you'd want to go with this model, maybe over those models, or maybe vice versa, and go from there. All right, so appreciate y'all watching. Stick with us. We're going to talk about this real quick. And by the way, love it if you give us a like on the channel for the video. And if you would subscribe to the channel, we've got a lot more videos like this coming. And we would really appreciate you coming along, checking them out. So let's take the camera off the mount here. Excuse me for just a moment. All right, so here we are, folks. Again, this is the HD7 Defender 2024 model. Okay, this is set up for 3 people. This is the power steering model. You can get this without power steering. I gotta admit, I don't know why anybody wants to buy these without power steering other than maybe you're just mega cheap. That's all I can say. So walking around the back here, let's talk about the bed. So full-size bed, and I mentioned, maybe the differences we would talk about between the HD7, the 9, and the 10. So chassis-wise, okay, and we're talking about length and width and all that kind of stuff, this is gonna be the same as the HD9, okay? Same footprint as the HD9. You get a little more power. You go from like 52 horsepower on the 700, I believe to 65 horsepower on the 900. And of course, if you get to the 1000, you go up to like 82 horsepower. Of course, the 1000 is a slightly wider footprint. But, so what I was gonna say is full-size bed, okay? So, it's got the little cutouts here. Even you can see you can fit 4 of the 5-gallon buckets all the way across. It does have the little hooks in the bed so that you can tie off and strap down your stuff. It's got the little cutouts in the bed for their line of accessories that kind of just clip on. It's got the 1 lever latch here, which is awesome. All right, they say the tailgate's, I think, rated at like 250 pounds. That means I can get on there without breaking it, which is awesome. You got cutouts here in the bed for your favorite cold beverage. You even got the old ruler on here if you want to measure today's catch. You do have 2-inch receiver hitch down on the bottom. You have a 2,500-pound towing capacity. Let's talk about that real quick, right? So again, 700, again, I'm going to call this a mid-size. It's a touch bigger than a mid-size, but it's not quite a full size. Yeah, it's right in the middle. We're not going to get into that too much, but let's talk about this comparable to the 700 Pioneer or the 570 Ranger. All right, tow capacity is 1,000 pounds higher than what's on the Ranger 570, and I love the Ranger 570. There's nothing in the world wrong with the Ranger 570, but folks, that's a big deal. Okay, you do have a little more horsepower, a little more tow capacity. I mean, it starts adding up. Let's talk something else. This guy's looking at 11 inches of ground clearance. 570 Rangers, 10.5 inches of ground clearance. All right. Not a big deal, but it's little things like that that add up. So someone's probably going to point out on the ground clearance issue with the Ranger. Okay, let's look at the tires. 27-inch tall tires. Polaris Ranger 570 full size I was just talking about in the ground clearance situation, that has 10.5 inches, only has a 25-inch tall tire. So there we go, folks. Somebody's probably gonna say, well, the Ranger technically has more ground clearance if you put the same size tires. Not wrong, okay, not wrong. This machine does not come with a top or windshield or anything on it. Of course, you can add all those accessories. Again, I mentioned set up for 3 seats, 3 seat belts all the way across the vehicle. Does come with the door nets, as we call it. Obviously, you know what that is if you've been looking at side-by-sides. It's got the lever here with the strut assist on the bed. It does have a single cylinder. I believe it's a 650 or 670 cc. I can't remember off the top of my head. I should know that. 650, I want to say. Everything is readily available. Maintenance wise, no big deal, easy to maintain. No more expensive, really, in my opinion, than anything else on the market. People ask that a lot. Which one is easier to work on? Which one is more expensive to work on? And really, folks, I don't see a difference. In my opinion, they're all kind of in the same boat. They're all fairly expensive when it comes time to do any kind of major service. But there's a lot to do on these. It's not like just changing the oil in your car, and a lot of people expect that. All right, so we'll take a look from the front here. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's got, you know, your little bit of a protection. I won't even call it a bumper, but little thing on the front. It doesn't have any kind of extra protection. No massive bumper on the front. Again, if we were going to compare the Ranger 570 or the Polaris or the Honda 700 Pioneer, you would have a bumper on here. So that's one thing to talk about that it would come with. Standard headlights on it. No big deal there. Does have a little cover right here. You can gain access to some of the fuses, electronics, and all that good stuff. All right. Oh, let's go to this side. Let's talk about the tackle box. And I call it a tackle box because, well, folks, it kind of looks like a tackle box. I'm gonna have to edit this out probably, but here we go. All right, again, cup holders on here right by the tackle box. When I say tackle box, it looks like a tackle box, right? It's got the lever. You lift this guy right up. Man, this thing is filthy. It's been sitting over in the off-site warehouse for a minute, but you can take that off, which is nice. Lock it back down. Then you can open it up this way. So you do have a glove box. And of course, we've got the toolkit and everything set in there, which is nice. These two seats will actually flip up. So you do have a little more storage if you want to set something in here, which is nice. I don't really know why you would do that, but you could. Does have the oh crap handle here on it as well. All right, and we're gonna get in from this side. Let's look at the floor, by the way. The floor is really nice in the Defender. So it's got these little, I don't know, I guess I'll call it a tread-like pattern, maybe. Tread? I guess it looks like tread. I don't know. Rubber, right? Anti-slip, which is awesome. So most people are going to be operating this thing out in the woods. It's going to be probably muddy, wet, and at some point when you're operating it, you're going to appreciate this not being super slick, okay? Trust me on that one. Let's go over here. We're going to flip the key on. Kind of a basic gauge cluster, nothing really super fancy, but it's got all the basics on here, right? I mean, you got your speedometer, you got your gear indicator, four-wheel drive indicator, temperature, trip, fuel gauge. I mean, I don't know what else you could really ask for that you really just absolutely need, okay? You got some buttons on here, and it's kind of hard to really see that I'm actually pushing them probably. As you can see, the clock changes up top. Go to your odometer, trip meter, trip B, and hour meter back to the clock, okay? We'll click this bottom one right here. You can see in the bottom where we went to engine temp, battery voltage. You can go into your main settings, of course. Change that to the tachometer, speed stats, how fast has it gone? Looks like average of 4, max, I guess that's 50. So you can see it goes 50 miles per hour, which is kind of cool. Gear indicator, so it will tell you what gear you're in, and it does have the CVT transmission. Let's talk about that real quick. The 700 has a slightly different CVT transmission than what is in the 900 or the 1000. Basically works the same, it's a little bit, I'll call it a little more of an upgrade in the 900 and the 1000. It's got some electronic goodies to help with belt life and all that kind of fun stuff. So here we go. We've got park, we've got reverse, neutral, high range, low range. Obviously, it's not shift on the fly. You got to stop to shift it, right? On the bottom here, we've got the four-wheel drive lever and lever, not a lever, a switch. All right, so we are in basically the turf mode. Okay, you see we have a rear diff lock, so it's two-wheel drive, open diff. We can lock the diff. And then we have the four-wheel drive. Folks, this is the Visco-Lock auto-locking system on this four-wheel drive model, which means you're gonna lock all 4 tires on it and have ultimate traction, okay, right when you need it. Pretty cool. I didn't point out, but obviously you can turn the lights off if you'll just hold this down, or click it and turn them back on, and you got high beam up there, okay? Does have a tilt steering, if you can see my hand down here, so it does move the steering wheel, which is nice. And you do have a little cubby right there and also in the center, as well as storage here in the bottom, which you can stuff your goodies in. You can get the top, windshield, rear panel, doors. I mean, you can get literally anything and everything for these vehicles, folks. So I hope that answers your questions. Maybe if you're looking at a mid-size UTV, why you might want to choose the Defender. And let's talk speed and power. I know we mentioned horsepower and all. Speed, yeah, you saw it went 50 miles per hour. I mean, significantly quicker than, let's say, the Honda 700 Pioneer. The Ranger's right there with it. But the fit and finish of this is really, really good. It's super smooth, okay, in terms of riding, as far as engine vibrations. There's no engine vibrations. You don't feel anything in the seat, the steering, in comparison to other models. I mean, it's really refined. The seats are very nice. I'm a fan, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan. I do love the Polaris's models as well. Polaris and Kenyon to me is kind of at the top, but if y'all know, been watching my videos, you know I own a CF Moto. Mostly, I had to do a lot probably with price, I'm gonna say, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right, folks, well again, appreciate y'all watching, all right, and love it if you can, if you'd subscribe and like the video. We'll see you next time, bye.